will begin the Dino Tail Snuggle Sack in just a moment. Hi everyone, it's Mikey and I'm proud to introduce a brand new pattern series by yarnspirations.com. It's called the Sleep and Snuggle Sack series. On screen now are other sleep sacks that are available in free pattern and tutorial format. Whimsical and delightful projects that will practically guarantee a warm smile from boys and girls. Super terrific for gift giving and much more. If you're wanting to try another sleep sack, then just click to play and I'll forward you directly to the next one. If you're wanting to do today's project, well, don't wait any further. Let's get started right now. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Let's begin today's tutorial on working on this fabulous Dino Tail Snuggle Sack by yarnspirations.com. Today's tutorial is a comprehensive start to finish project. In fact, I'm working on it behind the scenes in between the filming takes to be able to show you what to do next. We're going to go back to the Stone Ages with this wonderful snuggle sack design that features a dinosaur tail resembling the Stegosaurus, complete with plates on the tail to polish off the look. The stitches used in the main tail alternate between single crochet and double crochet to give the illusion of what we think dinosaur skin would have looked like. Of course, the colors are playful and this is really a great little design. I found with this project that it's not hard and the alternating of the stitches will eventually sink into your mind and your hook will do the work automatically. This dino tail, minus the filming and preparation time, took me about 13 hours to make. This project can be done in a couple days, and that's of course if you don't get distracted. On screen now is the anatomy of the dino tail, and we will return back to my workshop chalkboard in between each lesson. There are 4 steps involved in making the snuggle sack, and without further ado, let's examine the pattern and start from there. So let's review the pattern. What you're going to have is a dinosaur tail plus 6 plates. It's like a Stegosaurus. And what we have here is that you'll notice when the child is wearing it, it has a bend on the bed. That's just a staging technique. So there's no weird turns in this particular tail. It's just how it looks when it's laying on the bed. So what you want to do here is that you want to kind of look at the plates. So this is just going to be like a cocoon shape that's going to decrease, and then you get plates. So there's going to be 1 small plate, there's going to be 2 medium plates, and then 3 large plates. In today's tutorial I'm going to show you in a cheat sheet technique that I've done in order for you to do these really quickly, these plates. These are really not hard at all, and I'm going to show you that when we get to that particular part of the tutorial. Let's look at the words and see what we can see from that. So this pattern is a total of 3 pages. You're going to need 2 sizes of crochet hooks. So the main cocoon itself is a 9mm size M13. You'll just need to use a size in order to get the gauging of it if your gauge is off. And then for the plates we're going to be using a 6mm size J in order to do these smaller plates. And as I mentioned before, this bend is just how it's staged on the bed. It doesn't actually do that when you're crocheting it. So this is kind of a neat concept. So we're going to start off with the tail, and the tail we're going to start off with the very starting up here, and then we're going to work our way down for a way, and then we're going to start decreasing as it gets more narrow to the tail. We're then going to start our plates, and we're going to do the small plate, 2 medium plates, and then 3 large plates. So here's all the instructions. There's a lot of words, but let me show you the cheat sheet because I think you may be interested in that, because I think if you see that, you're going to see that this pattern is quite easy. So many of you know that I do homework in order to film these tutorials, and I do some stitch work to make sure that I understand it. So each one of the plates have this kind of shape going on. All of the plates start off at the base here, and this is where it joins to the tail, and then it's going to gradually get out bigger, and then it's going to gradually come in more narrow. So what happens on these particular ideas is that there's 3 sizes of plates. There's small, medium, and large. So what I did is that if you can read crochet diagrams, this is where it comes into handy. When it's building out like this, there is 2 stitches in a row that are on the sides, and this is what they appear here. So 1 stitch here is showing that there's going to be 2 into that one, and the next stitch there's going to be 2 onto this side. And on the very opposite side, when you're doing it, the other side does not have the slip stitch in it, just like this. Okay, so when you're going to work on it, so you move up to the next row, you can see that this 1 stitch has 2 off in it, and this one has 2 off in it again. So what are these 10, 12, 14 numbers? These are the number of single crochets that are resting in between where it's building. So eventually you're going to get to the point where it's going to stop growing. So it says the small was in round number 4, and so round number 4, you can see here is that it starts decreasing. See how these come together? That's a decrease. So it starts decreasing at that point. So it's then going to start going back up and it's gonna be getting more and more narrow as you do that. So what I did here is that I did it so that you're kind of looking at the side, so you can see it's opening, 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 and then we'll start going and decrease, 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 decrease all the way to the top. So this was a small. So the large, or the medium, sorry, is the same thing as 1 to 3, just like it shows over here. And then this is row number 4, 5, 6, and 7, and continues all the way to 16. And you can see that I just build it up within the diagram so that you can see what to do. Same thing with the large. So 1 to 3 is the same, and then you can see it's been building up. What are these check marks? Well, I've already done my homework in advance. So if I can just show you one of these here. So this is what one looks like here. Just like that. So this would be the number that you see, which is like 16, or it could be 14 or 12, whatever it is going across. And then it's the outsides here that have the increase. So there'll be 2 is the increase here, 2 in here, and then eventually it stops as you get to your most widest part, and then it starts to decrease. And so you're decreasing on these sides here and not in the middle, just like that. We'll get to that here in today's tutorial, but this is a sheet that I made because I think it's easier to see it in diagram format like this than sometimes it is to read the words. Either way you do it, whether your words or this, you're gonna get the same result. So I think that's it for now. We got 3 pages to start with. This is not a hard project. It really isn't. It's one of the easier ones of the Snuggle Sacks. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the tail, and that will be our first chapter. Okay, so let's start with the tail first. It starts at the opening of the tail where the child can slip into, and then it works its way to the bottom or the end of the tail. Let's begin. Well, welcome to chapter number 1. Chapter number 1, we're going to do the green tail. We're going to do everything from start to finish. So we're going to start on the biggest side first, and then we're going to go in rotations. We're going to go in rounds this time. So it's not a flat panel that we're going to sew together. So we're going to go continuously around, just like you see here. So I'm going to get you started on rows 1 to 3. And then it says there in row number 3 you have to repeat until you get 24 inches. So at some point we're gonna get here, and we gotta continue to do the same stitches until about 24 inches, and you see it starts to decrease around here somewhere, and then we're gonna start then tapering off as we get closer to the tail. So let's begin. Let's grab our yarn and let's begin next. So let's begin. We're gonna create a slip knot, and I'm gonna show you how to not to twist your chain. So you have to chain a total of 76 for this, and then you got to make sure you don't twist your chain when you go to join it to form your large ring. So what I want you to do is that I want you to chain a total of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So as soon as you get there 10 done, what I want you to do is insert your chain, the first part of it, onto the hook like so, and then put this one back on. So now that you have 10, so what's gonna happen is you're gonna continue to grow, and this will keep it from twisting and turning on you. So let's do another 5 just because I can. So 1, so you don't worry about this one, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I want you to continue until you get a total of 76 on here. So you had 10 already, and then another 5, so you're at 15 so far. So get all the way to 76, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. I now have a total of 76 just like you see here, and I've left it like I mentioned here. So now all I just need to do is, once I have my 76, I'm just gonna yarn over and pull through both of them. And now because of the way that I did it, this chain is not twisted. It's actually quite perfect. Let's begin with round number 1. So we're going to begin this round, and we're going to chain up 1, and it says 1 single crochet in the first chain. So we're gonna go right in the first chain and 1 single crochet, and what I want you to do is turn over the chain and get the back hump of that chain, okay, the back loop like so. It looks like a reptile's tail, and go in there. Once you do the first one, it stays turned over. So I want you to single crochet there. The next one you're going to double crochet into the next back hump, okay, the next back loop of the stitch. I call it the back hump. And what you're doing here is you're going single crochet and then double crochet, and then this one single crochet, and then the next one is double crochet. And I want you to do that same alterations going around. So just single crochet and double crochet, and please do that all the way around. This is going to create a scale look on the dinosaur tail. That's why you're doing it like this. So single crochet and double crochet. Please do that all the way around. As you come all the way back around, what's going to happen is that you got to make sure that before you do the join of where it comes together, you got to make sure this is not twisted. So just take the top edge with your finger, follow it around, and make sure that when you come back around it stays on the top edge. If it's coming up, if your finger is jumping over and coming up in the bottom, you know that there's a twist. So once you confirm that, just join it to the top of the chain of the single crochet. Remember, the last one should have been a double crochet if you were keeping count properly in order to do it. So on the other side, you're going to notice that there's raised stitches. That's kind of like the scales of the dinosaur. Let's move on to round number 2. Rounds 2 and 3 are identical to each other as far as we have to continue to repeat that pattern all the way through for the next little while. So we're going to then chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3, that counts as a double crochet. So this double crochet is sitting right over top of a single crochet. The next one technically is a double crochet that's right here, and that one this time is going to get a single crochet. So what you're just doing is you're doing exactly opposite to what you've already seen. So the next one's single, so this must mean this is a double. But the reality is that you have to just go single, double, single, double. You just got to make sure that down the row below you're doing completely the opposite to what's already in there. And what that will do is that it will offset the scales and make it look like it's really blending in nicely. So you just have to go single, double. So this one was single and double. And if you're ever confused, just look at that stitch, the one below, and just determine, okay, what is it? This one is a double, so it must be a single on top, but I had already finished with a double anyway, so I'm kind of keeping in track. So the key is to be able to identify what that stitch is underneath, and then you can just put the opposite to what it is right above. Please do this all the way for round number 2. So I'm finishing up round number 2. The last stitch is a single crochet because it is the last stitch, and it should be anyway. So you're just going to join it to the top of the chain 3. So that concludes off round number 2. So what's going to happen in round number 3, the only difference of round 2 and 3 is how you start. So round 3 then is chain up 1 only, go into the same stitch for a single crochet just like that, and then the next one is going to be a double crochet. So round 2 was chaining up 3 and then single crochet into the next, and then this one is completely the opposite. So this is gonna allow you to align your pattern to be the same. So what I want you to do at this point is that I want you to repeat rounds 2 and 3 over and over and over until the distance of the top of this to the next section is going to measure 24 inches. Let me show you on the map. So here's my map. So what's going to happen is that you're going to continue rounds 2 and 3 till you get to about 24 inches, and then we're going to start doing the taper together. So please do rounds 2 and 3 until 24 inches is complete, and then I'll see you back here in just a moment. So welcome back. I now have my 24 inches done, and let me show you back on the diagram where I am and what you need to look for before you continue on with the decreasing of the tail as you make your way to the end. So I'm now back on the dino tail, and what I have is about 24 inches from the top here to about here. I'm not sure exactly where it is on the sheet, but you can see that there is a progressive decrease that's going to be happening. So what we're going to be doing in the next section is that we're going to start this progressive decrease. So let me tell you a little bit about that decrease before we start. So let's review the tail. We have a progressive decrease happening here. It's not confusing when you think about it from this perspective. So where we are here is that you really can't see the stop and start on this particular dinosaur. It's probably on the underside. And what's happening is that when we go to start off, we're going to start off with the decrease. Okay, so right away we're going to get about halfway through, and there it gives you a number to repeat a certain amount of times, and then you're going to do a decrease. You're going to then do another decrease, so there'll be 2 decreases in a row, and when you get back all the way to the beginning, there's a decrease before you finish it off. So in actual fact, there's going to be 2 decreases, so 2 on this side, 2 on this side, but when we do the rounds we have to start off with the decrease, go halfway, do 2 of them, and then do the final when we get back. And if you, as long as you can remember that, it's a lot more easier to remember. Let me talk a little bit about the pattern next. So here we have the instructions, plus I have my own little workshop sheet. You can get this free workshop sheet on the crochetcrowd.com for the dino tail, and this just helps me in order to stay in balance with the designer. So what's going to happen is that we're going to decrease our tail, and you're going to notice that we're going to decrease around, and the next we're just going to maintain. Decrease, maintain, decrease, maintain. So what she's having us do is that we're going to start a decrease, and you can see that she stops on round number 8. That doesn't mean that there's only 8 rounds. What What this means is that she's establishing to you what the continuous decrease is. So once we get to round number 8, we have to then go to my worksheet, or you can just write on a piece of paper too. And what we're going to do is that we're going to repeat rounds number 5 and 6 and then 7 and 8. Think about it in pairs of 2. So 1's a decrease, so 5's a decrease, 6 is maintain, 7's a decrease, 8 is maintain. So what I have here on the worksheet here is that once you get to number 8, you can jump over here. So what we have to do is that we have to decrease the number of stitches. So you'll see in here that it says that we have to maintain a certain amount of stitches across. So it says 15 times that we want to repeat, and then you do a decrease. So what you want to do then is, in this worksheet here, is that I have substituted the numbers in red, as you see here, with the new number that you need. So this is the first round, second round, first round, second round. So 1's a decrease, 1's a maintain, decrease, maintain. And this is telling you how many stitches are left at the end of this in order to stay in balance, and our goal is to have only 12 stitches left. So this sheet helps you maintain. So we're gonna be able to follow through 1 through 8, and then you can jump to this worksheet, and as you mark it off and you do it, just check it off, and it's just an easy way to maintain. And finally, before we begin, the 24-inch mark that we had here, this last round, as you measure 24, should be the round that you started with a single crochet and then you went around. Okay, so single crochet, double, single, double. So if this one last round is a double single, then that means you just got to go one more round, or you can just frog out one of the last rounds in order to get you back there. So this 24 inches makes sense. So you cannot continue and do this if you're on the wrong row, because then that means that these scales will not line up properly. So make sure, again, single crochet is the last one that you ended up with here, and then double, single, double, single, double, and then when you slip stitched it over, there was a double, and then slip stitched just like that. So now we're ready to begin the decrease, and let's start on that now. So what I've done for myself is that I put in a stitch marker here. So the first two are going to be together in this one. This is the starting of the decrease, and then it says to repeat the instruction. So it's 2 stitches that you have to repeat 17 times. So what I did from the second one, or the third one over here, because the 2 are going to become together, I counted 34 stitches from here all the way to here, and I marked it with the stitch marker. When I did that, then I know that the next 2 are going to be together, and so the next 2 are together, and then I maintain the pattern, and then the final 2 are together. Stitch markers really help. It just it saves you a lot of counting, and if you can plan ahead, it makes a lot of sense. Let's begin the decrease now. So to begin the decrease, we're going to chain up 1. First stitch that we're going to do 2 together. So just stick in your hook, pull out your yarn, go into the next stitch, stick in the hook, pull the yarn. There's 3 on the hook, pull through all 3. Those 2 just became 1. So now we're going to maintain the pattern, and as per the pattern it says we're doing 1 double crochet in the next, and it's just like what you've already know. So 1 double and then single. So double. And so we have to repeat that a total of 17 times. So because I marked it with the stitch marker, I'm not physically counting that individually, and it just makes it a lot easier for myself when I go to do it like that. And again, because you're having to alternate between 2, it makes it harder in order to count that out. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do, and just do single, double all the way until you get to the stitch marker, and I'll see you back there in a moment, or you can count it out loud to yourself as well. So I'm coming up to the final round, and I'm maintaining the pattern. The stitch marker is where the 17th repeat finishes, and so if you're doing this as per the count, it's a double crochet right before it, and then the final one is a single crochet because you started off with the double. Okay, so now we have the next section. So the next 2 are going to be 2 double crochet together. So wrap that hook and going into the next, pull through 2 and hold. Okay, go into the next one. So wrap the hook, next one, pull through 2 and hold, and then pull through all 3 just like that. The next 2 are going to be single crochet 2 together. So we're just going to immediately go into the next one, pull through, and then go into the next one, pull through 3 loops in the hook, and pull those together. So just like we had been maintaining, so we had double, single, these 2 doubles just became 1, so that maintains the pattern, and these 2 singles just became 1. So now you're just gonna repeat your pattern all the way back to the start of the round, and the last 2 are going to be a matter of putting things together. So the last two is 2 double crochet together, and it's just really kind of easy because when we started this we did 2 single crochet together in this round, if that makes any sense to you. So let's continue along. So I'm just gonna start off again with double and then single and then double and single, and I'm not counting, I'm just gonna get myself back to the very start of this round, but again there should be a total of repeating of 17 times as well in order to maintain this pattern. So I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm coming up all the way around. I got 2 stitches left, and to maintain the pattern then is that the first one is gonna be they're both 2 together double crochet, so add that, and then the very final one add that, so they got 3 on the hook pulled through. So just like that. So and then you just have to just join it to the top of the beginning one that you had started with, like that. Okay, so that's how you begin to do these kind of rounds. Let's move on to round number 2 next. So let's move on to round number 2. We're gonna chain 3, which counts as a double crochet as it always has been, and then the next one is going to be a single crochet, just like that. So this whole pattern on this one here, round number 2, is just about maintaining what's already there. We don't worry about the stitch marker. We're just gonna go and just do this as normal, as if you weren't even decreasing, because you're not. So it's just double, single, and continue that same idea going all the way around. So I'm coming up all the way around on the second round, and I'm maintaining what is already going on there. So the last one should be a single crochet, and then you just join it to the top of the first double crochet. So that was round number 2. Let's begin and let's start preparing for round number 3. So in round number 3 we're gonna do another decrease. So every other round we're doing a decrease, if you can get that. So we're gonna start off, and what we want to do is that we need to put the first 2 together again, and then we have to go a certain amount. So this time we're going to go a total of 32 of stitches counting. So last time was 34, this time it's 32. What do you think the next one will be? 30. That's right. Next one 28. Next one 26. Remember that, you can really zip along pretty good. So let's begin this one here. So we're gonna begin chaining up 3, which is a double crochet, and then you want to double crochet in the first single crochet and so these 2 will be considered 1 next time you come around. Okay, so that is 2 together. So now you're just gonna maintain exactly what you have. So the next one's gonna be single and then double and single and double. Now if you're following in the pattern, it says that you got to do that a total of 16 times. So that's why I measured that out with the stitch marker, so I don't have to count. And then once I get there, I'm gonna do 2 decreases in a row, and then maintain again, and then do a decrease right in the very end of this. So please continue all the way to the stitch marker, and then we'll decrease together. So I'm coming up to the stitch marker. The final one is a double crochet this time around, and so then it says to do single crochet 2 together. So the next one is gonna be, and the one after that, they're gonna be put together with the single crochet 2 together, and then the next 2 are going to be single or double crochet 2 together. So once you get these 2 done, then okay, it just makes it a lot more sense. Just put them together, and then you're just gonna maintain. So the next one, you can even look down, and this is a double crochet, so therefore this has to be a single crochet anyway, but because you had finished with the double, it kind of makes sense anyway. So just look for those visual cues when you need them. So just maintain the pattern out to the very beginning, and then the last 2 are gonna be put together on this round as well. So I'm coming up to the very end of round number 3. Remember, the final 2 need to come together. So we started off, and remember the 2 double crochets here, that's to be considered together. So therefore the 2 finals must be a single crochet in order to keep the pattern. So I'm just finishing off with the double because I'm maintaining the pattern. See, and singles are next anyway. So you put 2 together, which are the final 2 for 2 together single crochet, and then just join it to the top of the beginning, just like so. So right to the top of the beginning double crochet there, because that's now considered 1. So that's it. So let's move along to round number 4. Let's begin to do round number 4. The advantage to all of this anyway, by the way, is that you're gonna get faster and faster as you decrease and take away stitches. So just remember that. So it's not as hard as it looks. It does go quicker than you may realize. So let's begin. We're gonna chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in the top, and it's double crochet right underneath, so you can tell it's a single here, and then the next one will be a double. So this round number 4 is just maintaining what's already there. So it's single, double, single, double. Continue to do that all the way around for this round. No decreasing this time. I'm coming up to the end of round number 4, again maintaining the pattern exactly as written. So this time around is that there's a double crochet in the final, just like that, and then you're just gonna join it to the top of the first single crochet that you started with on round number 4. So now we're gonna move up to round number 5. Rounds 5 through 8 are the repeat patterns, and then you can jump to my worksheet from that point. So let's prepare for round number 5. So let's begin round number 5. I moved the stitch marker now, and so the first 2 don't count, remember, because we're gonna bring those together, and then this time it's 30. So if you're not sure how I'm figuring that out, just look at the number on number 5. It says repeat number 15 times. Because there's 2 stitches in the repeat, you times 15 times 2, which gives you 30, just like that. Okay, so that's how you maintain that. So let's begin the number 5, and we're going to chain up 1, and the first 2 are gonna be together. So single crochet 2 together. So that one and the next one are together. And just as a clarification, when you come back around, the last 2 will be 2 double crochet together. Okay, so if the 2 singles are on this side, this means that this is 2 doubles. If there's 2 doubles on this side coming together, this is 2 singles. Just remember that. Okay, so let's maintain the pattern as is till we get to the stitch marker, and that's a repeating of total of 15 times anyway. And again, stitch markers will just speed you up, and therefore you don't have to count, and you can chat and all that kind of stuff, and just look for your stitch markers as your next cue. So I'll see you there in just a moment. So I got myself to the stitch marker, which is the repeat of 15 times. Now here's the tip. Because we started off with 2 single crochets right in the very beginning, the first time that you hit this will always be 2 double crochets. So if you start on the other side and the first is 2 double crochets in the beginning, this one will be 2 single crochets. Just remember it's opposite to each other, and again these are little tips that help you speed up. So because we started with 2 single crochet together on this round number 5, this means that the first time we're gonna decrease, it'll be 2 together double crochet. Okay, and therefore the next 2 are 2 single crochet together, just like that. And now we maintain the pattern. So if this is 2 single crochets, the next one has to be a double, and you can see this is a single here anyway, so that means that the pattern is maintaining itself perfectly. So continue all the way to the very end, and we're gonna do the decrease before we finish this round for number 5. So I'm coming up all the way around, and the final 2 have to come together, and because we started off with single crochets 2 together, this side here, as I promised, the final 2 has to be 2 together. Okay, for double crochets. So let's just join it to the top of the first single crochet there where you put them together, and that concludes off round number 5. So round number 6, let's begin. We're just gonna maintain exactly what you see, and so chaining a 3 counts as a double crochet, and then the next one, see this is a double crochet, will automatically be a single. Okay, so just maintain what's already there for round number 6, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So there's no decreasing at this time. So let's finish up round number 6 together, and this is part of the repeat pattern for when you do my workshop sheet in a bit. Okay, so coming up around, I'm maintaining exactly what is already there. Remember these are 2 together at the end, so this is a single crochet together as your final, and then you join it to the top of the first chain 3 that you'd begin with. And that was the conclusion for round number 6. So let's move on to round number 7. Let's move that stitch marker again, and it says that we have to repeat 14 times. So how many times do you have to count? 28. So the first 2 are gonna be together, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. That is where my next stitch marker is going to be. Right here, so I'm going to maintain the pattern until I get to that spot. So let's begin to do round number 7. So round number 7 is exactly what we did in round number 3. Just like that. So okay, so we're gonna chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. First single crochet will be a double crochet. These are classified as to being 2 together. Technically they're not, but you need to classify that as that. Then the next one is going to be single double, single double, single double, all the way to the stitch marker once again. So maintain that, and I'll see you at the stitch marker. Once again, this is round number 7. So now here at the stitch marker, remember what I said last time we did a decrease? So we started off with 2 together double crochets. These are considered double crochets. So the first time you ever gonna decrease will be single crochet this time, 2 together. So it's completely the opposite to the way you started, and then the next one is 2 together double crochet to bring that to conclusion. Then you're just going to maintain the pattern as is. So that's double crochet. So the next one here should be starting with single crochet, double crochet, and maintain that for round number 7. And we have the decrease finally on the last 2 stitches of this round. So I'm at the conclusion of round number 7. The final 2 stitches will be 2 single crochet, 2 together, and I know that A, it says it on the pattern, but B, because you had started off with 2 double crochets together, this one has to automatically be the single crochet together, and it maintains the pattern too. So we're just going to just look for the one that is the double crochet, this chaining of 3. You don't really look at it from this perspective, because if you go on the top of that, you'll end up with having 2 different stitches, where if you go into the top of the second one, it will maintain that pattern. So round number 8 is exactly what you have to see. So you chain up 1 and then 1 single crochet into the first one, which is directly below it, and then double into the next, and you're gonna do that all the way around. So let me get this round done, and let me just bring back the workshop sheet, and you're gonna do the rest on your own, and you just follow the sheet exactly the way it says, and you can also follow the pattern too, whatever is easiest for you in order for you to accomplish this pattern. So I'll see you back here in just a bit. So in concluding round number 8, I'm just maintaining exactly what is already there. Okay, so the last one is a double crochet this time around, because we started off with a single crochet in the beginning. So now it's time to start just going through the workshop and start really decreasing. When I look at it from a top perspective, I can see that I've already started to decrease on the sides just like this, and we're just gonna maintain that slowly as we come to the end of the tail. Let's bring back the workshop and let's just review that one more time. So now we're gonna work on the workshop sheet, and again you don't need to print this off if you're understanding the pattern and you want to write it on your own. So right now we've just finished off with round number 8, so we want to go for round number 5 and 6 again. The ones in red you are going to substitute with this number here. So rounds number 5 and 6. Okay, and then this will be 7 and 8, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. There's a total of 24 rounds altogether, and this will decrease our number of stitches that we need in order to maintain this pattern for the end of the tail. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. So just use this sheet if you want to. Just check it off as you go. I'm going to, and it just helps you stay in line, and that's kind of what we're gonna go for. So I'll see you at the end of this tail, and we're gonna do one final round together, which then will bring this to conclusion. So last time I left you, we were just making sure that we were decreasing, and we did the worksheet, and here's where I am at the very end. It probably took me a couple hours to go from the last step to where I am at this moment. So I'm left with 12 stitches all the way around, and this is the final round, and all we have to do for the final round is just chain up 1, and we put 2 single crochets together all the way around. So because there's 12, there'll be 6 of these, and then what we want to do is that we're going to break the yarn, or cut the yarn, whatever you want to call it, and it's technically called break the yarn. And what we want to do then is just use that extra long yarn tail to kind of just weave in and out in order to pull everything together. So let me just turn it over. So it has a nice rounded off tail at the very end, according to what they think dinosaurs used to be back in the old days. Okay, so continuing to go all the way around to the very start, like so. Once it gets all tight like this, it gets kind of more difficult to do. Okay, so that's it, and I'm just gonna slip stitch it then to the very starting, and I'm just going to let it unravel. So I'm left with a little tiny hole here at this moment. So let me just get my yarn strand. So I'm gonna do not too long, maybe about 16 inches. That's probably way too long as it is, and I just want to take the strand and just pull it through like so. Now what I want to do is grab a darning needle, and in the darning needle what I want to do is that I want to close this off, this little hole. So just insert the yarn through the darning needle, and it's kind of like a clothesline effect, and I just want you to go in. There's only 6 stitches left, so just go in underneath the stitches. And what I like to do is I like to grab them all first. It's kind of like a whip stitching, just kind of going around it. Just like that. So going all the way to the beginning of where I started. I like to go back into the very first one that I started with as well, just as a thing that I like to do. It's a personal thing. So once you're in all the way around, just pull on everything and it will pull it nice and tight for you, just like this. So what you want to do is you want to weave in your end. So I'm gonna go across the way. Because of the stitch work is kind of bumpy the way that it was designed, then it's easy to hide in these extra yarn tails at the end. So what I'm gonna do next time around, I'm going to just secure it and probably put a tiny little knot in it, just like that, and then just weave it in a couple more times. So that would be how you would do the tail itself. And now the next part, we're gonna move on to the scales or the plates. Sorry, we're gonna move on to the plates. Those are what is gonna be appearing. It's kind of like a stegosaurus, and we're gonna be covering all three of those sizes in the next part of this tutorial. Once you have this all in, just cut it and put this aside, and we'll come back to this when we're ready to do the final assembly. So I'm pretty excited about it, and hopefully you are too at this point. Good job! Now let's view how to do the plates next. The plates are very simple, but the first one that you may do may be a little bit slower or throw you for a loop. Stick with it. It's not as hard as it appears, and for myself, once I did the first one and understood the concept, the rest were easy to complete. Let's examine how to do the plates next. And welcome to the next section where we're gonna do the small plate, the medium plate, and the large plate. And I'm only gonna show you one because I'm gonna show you the secrets on how to do all three sizes. That's gonna be coming up next. So when looking at the plates, we have one small plate, we have two medium plates, and three large plates. The difference of these is just a slight variation when it comes to doing all the different techniques. And what I've done is that I've created a worksheet for you that you can follow along. I'll show you how to operate it, because once you understand it, it's going to be really quite easy to master. Let me explain a little bit of the engineering properties to making these plates, and once you get that, I think you'll be off to the races too. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start off with the round circle of a chain. It's just going to be a continuous chain, and then we're going to start making it. So when you see it jumping out like this and then back in, the increase is always in the same spot, which happens to be always in the flat spot over here. So there's always going to be an increase on one side and the other when it's getting bigger, and then when you see it start to stabilize off and taking its time in order to grow bigger, then it means that there's just going to be one single crochet into each as it's progressively decreasing. And when it's decreasing, it decreases on the same spot on both sides. So what I'm going to show you now is one of the plates. I've done all of the extra ones that I needed to do in order to show you how to operate today's pattern. So here's what one of the plates look like. You can see it's three-dimensional. You can actually put your hand right inside, and it makes it for three-dimensional so that it really does a nice effect on the snuggle sack. So what's going to happen is we're going to start off in the bottom, and we're going to do the increase. So the increase always happens in the same spot on the edge. Okay, and what's going to happen is that the middle ones are the one that we're going to do the increasing, and then when we start to stabilize off, we just basically do single crochets around, and it just kind of makes it grow slowly. And then when we start to decrease, the two middle ones always are the ones that are going to come together. So you got to look at this as two halves. So there's going to be two that come together on this side and two to come together on this side. I'm going to explain that as we go all the way through, and then in the pattern what I have done is that I can show you that we've done an increase, and then there's so many stitches that go across, and then there is another increase, and then there's an increase, and then there's so many stitches across. Let me show you my diagram, and let me show you what I can do with this. So what I did is that I took it to the point where I read the instructions and I created the stitch diagram in order to match. Now this is the small, medium, and large. Now there is a number of rows for each. So you can see that each one of the ones here from rounds 1 through 3 are identical to each other. So we just follow the same pattern, and then on round number 4 is when we take a turn and do something slightly different. So what we're going to do here is that when you're going to work this up, I would just check it off as you go. So for example, let's take a closer look at basically at what I have done here so that you can understand it even more, and then I'll come back to this and show you some more stuff. So here's a cross section of something that we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing the plate, and the plate looks like this configuration. When it's growing outward, it's an increase, and when it's going inward like this, it's a decrease. So looking at row number 1 of all of them, I show you that we have to do our chain, and the chain comes together and we create that ring. We're going to chain up 1, and the first one gets 2 single crochets, and then there's a total of 10 single crochets before you hit the other side. So when you hit the other side after you do 10, there's going to be 2 in a row that look identical. So this is what it looks like on the other side without the slip stitch or the chain 1. So what you're seeing here is identical to what's happening on the opposite side without the chain 1 or slip stitch involved. So on number 2, we chain up 1. The first one gets 2 single crochets because we're in the increase. The last one gets 2 single crochets into the same one, but you go 12 single crochets across to the other side, and then the ones on the other side, there's going to be 2 in a row that have 2 single crochets in it. So what you can essentially say is that you're starting here, and then you're putting your single crochets in, the 2 in, then you're doing your 12 across like so. On the other side, just take out the chain 1 and the slip stitch and the 2 middle ones after you get your 12. So 13 and 14 will have 2 each of the single crochets, and then you'll be doing a total of 12 single crochets back, and that will take you to the very last one that's left open, and then you'll put in 2 single crochets in there. So when you're looking at other rows like number 4, it's just 1 single crochet in each. So I chained up 1 single crochet each all the way around. On the other side, when you got to the other side, it'll just be single crochets, no big deal. When you're doing a decrease, when we go to start up, we're gonna put the 2 together right at the very beginning, and then this is number 5. So number 5 has a total of 14 single crochets before you get to the other side. So because this is a decrease, okay, so there will be 14 going across. You'll do your decrease, which is the same look but without the chain 1 or the slip stitch. You do your decrease, and then you go back in single crochet 14, and the final 2 stitches will come together in order to form the decrease, just like this. So let me bring back the other sheet now that I've explained that to you. So this is an overall view of the small, medium, and large size, and you can just follow it up and follow the instructions. So just when you're on the opposite side after you've got started, just ignore the chain 1 and the slip stitch and just do exactly what you see, because it's always the same on the other side. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to show you the small, and what I have written up here is that the small sizes, when it gets to the middle point where it starts to stop increasing, is round number 4, because you can see on 14 that the 2 are coming together. Sorry, round number 5, sorry, they're coming together, and you can see that's happening here. On the medium, when you look at it, medium size, okay, do you see that? It's round number 6 is when you're going to stop and do all of the decreasing is going to be starting. And then on the large, if you look over here, just follow it across, you can see that it's round number 7 is the final, right in the middle spot right here. That's where it's going to stop. So what's happening in the different sizes here is that it changes the way that you're growing. So sometimes it has you relax and put in just single crochets, which gives you more height, and then the other times it gets aggressive and has you put in more decreasing in order to make it a sharper. So if you look at rounds 12, 13, and 14, they're all coming as a decrease here for the medium size, and then the final. Let me explain the very final 2 rows, and that's next. So in the final 2 rounds of each one of these plates, there's something going on. So I said single crochet 2 together. You're going to start off this one and put in single crochet 2 together, and you're going to keep doing it and all the way around until you see the final 3 stitches available to you. The final 3 stitches are just going to be 1 single crochet each. So you're just going to maintain that. Again on 14, same thing. You go single crochet 2 together until you get 3 left, and that's it. it'll leave you a very small gap at the top that you'll use your darning needle to sew it closed at the top. Same thing that's happening on the medium. So again, you single crochet 2 together continuously until the last 3 are revealed. The last 3 will be single crochets. Same thing with 16, and then the same thing on the large one. 19 and 20 are the same way. So the only difference is that you just got to follow up. So on my actual working sheet, I just did a check mark as I did these, and we're gonna provide a nicer copy of this on the crochetcrowd.com if you'd like to follow through, because honestly once I did this I just literally check beside it and I get everything done, and it's quite easily. So I'm gonna show you how to do the small one using this configuration, and then you can come and get this sheet and then just do the 2 for mediums and then 3 for the large. So for the plates we have to switch to our smaller hook, a 6mm size J hook, and we're still using the beautiful Bernat blanket yarn. I'm going to create a slip knot, and all rounds from 1 through 3 for all sizes are the same as each other, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of the chart work as well. So to start this one you're going to chain 24. So just 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go all the way to 24 for me, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. Okay, I now have 24, and what I want to do is make sure this chain is not twisted, and I'm just going to insert the last one onto the hook, yarn over and pull it through. So I'm going to take you back to my workshop sheet in just a second, and I'm going to show you some tips. So we're officially going to start round number 1. As I just mentioned, rounds 1 through 3 are the same one no matter which one it is. It's round number 4 that they all take a different path, and so this is the medium and large, and we're working on the small. So this indicates to me I'm gonna chain 1, just might as well put the chain 1 there, and the first one is gonna get 2 single crochets in, and then there's gonna be 10 single crochets in a row. Then numbers the next 2 are gonna be 2 single crochets into the same one. Again, just visualize it without the chain 1 and the single crochet into the same one, and then we're going to then put 10 single crochets heading back to the beginning, and the final one will have 2 single crochets right in the very beginning. So let's continue to do round number 1. So let's begin round number 1. We're gonna chain up 1, and right where the same one that you did the join, I need you to put 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2, and that's as per our diagram. So as I said, there's 10 single crochets in a row along the chain. So let's put 10 in a row. So we're just gonna move down the chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So there's my 10 in a row. So the next ones, as per the diagram, is the next one is going to be 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2, and then I have to go to the other side of the slip stitch and the chain 1 in the photograph or in my diagram, and just ignore that because we're on the other side, and the next one's going to be then 2 single crochets into the same one. So you just gotta ignore that other instruction when you're on the opposite side. So now we're gonna head 10 all the way back to the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, this is 7, 8, 9 and 10, and we have 1 stitch left. Okay, it's right there, and that one's gonna have 2 single crochets into the same one. So that's the other side of your starting point, just like there. So once you've done that, just slip stitch it to the top of the first single crochet that you started with, and then that brings round number 1 to conclusion, just like that. Okay, so let's move on to round number 2. So in round number 2 I indicate that you chain up 1, and then the first one will be 2 single crochets into the first one, then there will be 12 by itself, then after that there's 2 in a row that will be 2 single crochets into each, and then there's 12 on the way back, and then the very final one is going to be having 2 single crochets. If you can identify when you're on the opposite side, so for example, let me just show you here. I can identify when I put 2 single crochets into the same one. Okay, it's right here. See how it's opposite? So what I can really do for myself is that I know that the opposite side here, that there's one single crochet right into one, and there's another one into the same one, and there's one into one and one into the same one, right? There's two into the same. If you can identify where this is on this, which you can, then it becomes a lot easier and you don't really have to count. But that's of course if you're that comfortable with it. So let's begin, and let's start on round number 2. So round number 2, we're gonna chain up 1, and the first single crochet stitch is gonna have 2 this time. So 1 and 2, and then it says there's gonna be 12 in a row, so we can count those out. So 1, 2, 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And look where you are. See, there's 2 single crochets into this one. So you've already into the first one being at 12. The next one is the middle one, and then there's 2 single crochets into the next one, and see this next one then would be 2 single crochets into the same one. So the next one would get 2 in a row, or 2 into the same one, sorry. Okay, so 2 single crochets. The next one's gonna get 2 single crochets. It's right directly in the middle. And then you can either count it back, which I don't think you'd really need to, because you can identify if your counts were right the last time. You can identify that the very last stitch in this particular revolution is gonna get 2 single crochets into the same one. So I found with myself, because you can identify what you're looking at, and see now that you're starting to see it peeking up a little bit, you're gonna identify it a lot easier, and then you can almost cut down on the counting and being able to speed your way through this making of the plates. These plates really don't take a long time. So if you want to count it out, that's up to you, but I'm using the visual cues for myself. So therefore I only have 1 stitch left here. So in order to keep it in balance, this one is gonna have 2 single crochets, and then I'm gonna just join it to the beginning single crochet that I had started with, and that was round number 2. So you're gonna see that it's gonna start poking up a little bit, and that's just the way it's gonna go. And if you fold it in half, you're gonna see that it's gonna start increasing as well. Let's move on to round number 3. Okay, round number 3, we're going to begin again, chain up 1. The first one that you run into is gonna be 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2, and this time it's 14 in a row. You can count it if you wish. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, and 14. And look where we are again. So you got 14. Okay, the very next stitch is the right in the middle. Okay, so this one here, round number 3, it's 2 into the same one. So 1 and 2, and the other one on the other side of that is 2 into the same one. So 1 and 2. And then you can just zip on your way back. You can either count to 14 again if you wish, or just do what I do. The very last stitch is gonna get 2 into the same one. So you're gonna start really noticing that this is starting to pop up, and that is your corners when you're getting the shape of your plates for your dinosaur. So by the time you make your way back across, it actually becomes really easy if you're just looking at it from each row. So the very last stitch, there's gonna be 2 single crochets into the same one, and then you're just gonna join it to the first single crochet that you started with. So that's what it looks like now. Now you're starting to see how it's starting to bowl out just like that. Let's begin round number 4. So in round number 4, this is when all of them start taking a different path. So what we have for the small one is that we're no longer growing this thing out anymore. We're just gonna do 1 round of 1 single crochet in each, and then we're gonna start slowly decreasing down. Now the ones in the medium we're gonna increase again. on round number 4, then stabilize, then start to decrease, and then when you get the large ones you can see you got 3 rows of increase, then stabilization, and then decrease. So let's begin round number 4 of the small one. So round number 4 is just 1 single crochet in each, so chain up 1, so you just go 1 single crochet in a round. So I don't even count, you don't have to, just 1 single crochet in each, going all the way around for round number 4, and I'll see you at the end of this round. Okay, and quickly coming up to the end of round number 4 is just 1 single crochet into each, and then you just join it to the beginning single crochet that you'd started with, like so. So you really can start seeing it coming together. See, it's still building outward. Let's move on to round number 5. So round number 5 we're gonna start our decreases now. So round number 5 we're gonna chain up 1 coming into the same stitch, so just yarn over, pull through, okay, hold that on your hook, go to the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that's a decrease, and then it says there's 14 single crochets in a row. So let's do 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So once you get over to the other side here, see what you're looking at here? These happen to be right in the very middle. So the first ones are gonna come together just like we had already done. So put those 2 together, and then the next 2 are gonna be together. And that's the other side complete. Then there's gonna be a total of 14 single crochets. Notice that I'm not counting because I know that my stitch counts are accurate, so I just know that the last 2 stitches when I come around just have to be put together with a decrease. So that's how you decrease on these kind of ideas. And so all you just need to do is just fill in the blanks when you're going to do these. So look at that diagram key that I made, and it becomes very easy. So the very final 2 stitches then are you gonna put those 2 together because you put the other 2 together when you started, and then you just join it to the very beginning one. So you're gonna notice it's gonna start pulling in and then creating the upward diamond shape. Let's move on to round number 6. Round number 6 we're just gonna stabilize this round, so chain 1, and then you're just gonna put 1 single crochet into each all the way around. Please do that, and I'll see you in the end of this round. So I'm continuing all the way around. It's just 1 single crochet right into each until you get to the very end, like so. So now we're gonna begin, and we're gonna do round number 7. So round number 7 we're going to do another decrease. So it's just chain up 1, first 2 are together, like so, and then for 7 it says that there's 12 in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the next 2 are together. This is the other side, and then the next 2 are together in order to conclude that one. And then you're just gonna single crochet yourself all the way back to the beginning, and the final 2 will be together. And that was round number 7. So you're starting to eliminate stitches. This means that you're gonna get faster and faster as you work your way to the point of the top of the plate. So here we are, and the last 2, I can see it here, so I've got 1 more to go, and the last 2 are together. And you just join it to the very beginning one that you had started with, just like that. Okay, so you can kind of really get a good glimpse. So right where you stop and start is the actual sides, like this. So now you can start seeing that you went out, and now you're coming back in. Let's move on to round number 8. It's also a decrease round. Chain 1, bring the first 2 together. Okay, the next 10 are by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so the next 2 are together, like that. Okay, and coming back, the next 2 are together. That's the other side, and then the next 10 are by themselves. So 1, 2, and you don't have to really count out, you just got to remember that the last 2 are going to be together when you get over there. If you're confident with your counting, you don't really have to count everything all the time. You can rely on your stitch work, and it's actually really works out to be pretty good. The nice thing about the small one too is that there's only ever one, so if you kind of screwed this one up, how are people going to know, right? So the final 2 are going to be together, just like this. So bring them together and then join them with the first one like this. And again, let's just pop it out and see what it looks like. See? Isn't that neat? So let's begin to do round number 9. Okay, in round number 9, it's just a stabilization round, so chain up 1, and it's 1 single crochet into each. So every time there's a single crochet round in any of these, it just means that it's just taking its time to get smaller, and it's allowing the shape to take a better shape as a result. So please do that single crochet all the way around for round number 9. Coming up to the end of round number 9, just join it to the very first single crochet that you started with. So here's what it looks like now. Neat. So let's begin round number 10. Round number 10 is a decrease, so chain up 1. First 2 are obviously together. Hopefully you're starting to understand my chart by now. And then the next 8 are by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then the next 2 are together. Okay, and then the next 2 are together. This is the other side, and then just 1 single crochet into each. It's a total of 8 in a row, and then the final 2 are together. So please do that. That was round number 10. We're almost done. The small one's coming to a conclusion really quick. So the final 2 are together, and join it to the very beginning one. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. Now you can start really seeing the diamond shape. Let's move on to round number 11. It's going to be a decrease, so chain up 1, and the first 2 are together. And then this time there's 6 in a row that are by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next 2 are together. It's the other side, and the next 2 are together, and then the next 6 are by themselves, but you can count it. You can count it if you wish, or you can just rely on yourself to know that the final 2 are going to be 2 together. So here's the final 2 now. Put those 2 together, and that will conclude off round number 11. Let's move along to round number 12. It also says together, so we're going to chain up 1, and the first 2 are together, and it says the 4 are going to be in a row. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means that the next 2 are going to be together, and the next 2 are going to be together as you're on the other side. And there's going to be 4 single crochets in a row as you make your way back to the start. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it means that the final 2 are going to be together. And bring that with the slip stitch. Okay, that was round number 13, so you really can see it now. And let's finish this off. Let's do round 13. So round 13, it says single crochet 2 together, and you continuously do that until there's 3 left on here, and then the last 3 are going to be single crochets. So chaining 1, so the first ones are going to be single crochet together, so are the next ones, and you're looking so that you can see only 3 stitches left in this round. So you continue to do single crochet 2 together. So I'm just looking at it where I've started, so 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like I can do this 2 more times before the final are 1 single crochet into each. Sorry, let me just pop that back out. So the next one is going to be 2 together, and the next one it can be 2 together, leaving me 3 left over. So the final 3 are going to be 1 single crochet each. 1, 2, and 3, and join that to the top of the first. And then finally for row number 14, which is the final, is that it's going to be 2 together except for the final 3. So chain up 1, so 2 together once again, and I'm looking to count to make sure that I end up with 3 left over at the end. This gives it a nice stabilized top. So 1, 2, and 3. So there's the 3. So the last 3 is going to be 1 single crochet into each. And that's it. You're done. So what you want to do is once you get that done, slip stitch it to the beginning, and you're going to create an extra long tail, and you're going to use that tail to be able to sew this top shut. So there's still a hole in the top, so just pull this yarn through, and then grab your darning needle. I have not done the small one up until this point. I've done the other ones as homework. It just made sense to me because I only had to do one. So I just want to just kind of go across and kind of use that to kind of sew everything nice and shut to the top. Got to remember a child is using this, so you want to be a little extra careful with it. And then once you're satisfied with it, you can just weave your ends in and out, make a nice tie that you cannot see. This yarn is very forgiving for that element alone. And what you're going to do is that you're going to move on to the nether plates. So the mediums, there's got to be 2 of them. Large, there's going to be 3 of them. And you're just going to get those all together, and then you're going to meet me back here when we're going to do the final assembly. So this is what it looks like. Let me show you the next size up. Here's the next size up. See, it's just slightly different from each other. Let me see if I can back up a little bit. There we go. And then I have a larger size, which is the biggest size of all, like this. So you see that you got small, medium, and large. Let's move on, and I'm going to leave the rest for you, and then we'll see you back here for the assembly process next. Finally, you're ready to position your plates onto the tail strategically. Consider the slip stitch line when placing your plates. Consider the plates are off to one side. Lay out the sack on a table and position your plates using spare yarn. So just kind of briefly attach them. Once happy, then begin sewing them into position, and then you should be good to go. Let's begin. Off camera, I've got all my plates all ready, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to lay this out. So what I want to pay attention to is that when you see the child wearing this, you'll notice that the plates stay on one side or the other. It doesn't matter which one, but you're going to have to make a judgment call, because you want to think about that slip stitch that is going out throughout. I think the slip stitch right here is showing right in this section right here. So you may want the slip stitch to be along the side like so, so it can be flipped up either way and the slip stitch always stays on the side, or you could put the slip stitch in the center of the base and then just put the plates on the one side. So what I would recommend you do is just study the photo, and then using your tape measure, just kind of look at it. You'll see this one here, it's kind of a little bit out of alignment. It looks like it was just a little bit out of place. So what I would do is lay this down on its side just like this and just start attaching. So I would start probably in the end and then go to the other end and go to the next one and go to the next one and kind of just lay it out, but don't tie anything together, don't sew anything together, but use some spare yarn just to kind of tie it in a position, and then once you're satisfied with it, then you can whip stitch the rest of this together. Let me basically kind of get things together, and whip stitching is a very easily. It's just a matter of going around. You're going to want to use the same color. So this is Pal Purple. So I'm going to want to use this color in order to attach it. If you use the green to this, you're going to see the green stitching going into the purple, and it's not going to be very attractive. So now it's time to start assembling. The instructions are relatively easy. Just look at the photo and just match exactly what you see. And I'm going to show a fast forward version of me doing the assembly. My friends at yarnspirations.com and myself, Mikey of the Crochet Crowd, would love to thank you so much for joining us in the making of a Dino Tail Snuggle Sack. It's been a pleasure to teach you today, and of course if you're looking for more free patterns and tutorial ideas, you can count on us to keep the inspiration free and the ideas flowing. Have an amazing day. We'll hope to see you back here real soon. Bye-bye.